Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The important news and editorial that would be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 13th of July. The first important news that is about the National Research Foundation. The bill was recently passed by the Parliament. And basically the bill has been actually proposed and it will be passed in the monsoon session. So this is from the text and context page of the Hindu. Second, Centre rejects EU Parliament stand on the Manipur situation. India has stated that it's an internal matter and there should not be any interference. Third, Ukraine wins security support but no clarity for NATO membership. Second last, that is IIP rises to 5.2% led by infrastructure. And the last is an editorial about the great expectations. So, क्या expectations हैं नीति आयोgs and even for the part of the recommendations that is actually given by the Finance Commission. So, in this article, I will see the recommendations that was given by the Finance Commission और किस तरह से उसके recommendations की implementations की ज़रूरत है that has been discussed. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further ado, let's get started. And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do hit that like button. And starting the session with the first news, that is the National Research Foundation, something important for General Studies paper 2. That is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from its design and implementations. So recently, the Union Cabinet has approved the introductions of National Research Foundation. This was a bill in Parliament, placing once again the debate for science and technology funding in the spotlight. Now, as of now, before erstwhile there was no something that was functional. Now, the National Research Foundation will be the topmost body which will call for the recommendations, approval, and even augmenting when it comes to the part of research, technological development and its funding. So what is NRF, National Research Foundations की अगर बात करें, established as per one of the key recommendations which is there in the National Education Policy, जो 2020 है हमारी education policies. Very important in the context that it is designed to suit the present generation, and NRF intended to act as a coordinating agencies जो कि research various government bodies में होंगे, even including the industries, also mainstreaming the research activities whether it is academic, industries or any stream promoting for the development of the science and technology. In addition, it will provide for research grant जो कि individual level पे भी हो सकती है. NRF plan to seeds the part of GROW and that will facilitate the Indian universities, whether it is deemed central universities, state universities, everything will be collaborated on that part. Specifically state universities जहाँ पे funding और infrastructure research को लेकर के काफ़ी problem होती है, NRF will have special eye on the state universities also. Now funding pattern की अगर बात करें, this is again important how the funding pattern will go. If you're writing in mains, आप highlight कर सकते हैं about the funding pattern. So NRF will operate with a budget of 50,000 crore rupees, with 28% will go to the government share and remaining 72% will come from the private sector. So there's a collaboration, you can say the PPP model is well encapsulated here. And the draft proposed the government shares to increase it eventually by 20,000 crore rupees over the year. Per year, this amount will be an add-on, right? And the government share will be 4,000 crore rupees that will be existing in the science and engineering research, which will subsume in the NRF. So gradually और भी जितने funds already science and technology को promote करने के लिए बनाए गए हैं, लाए गए हैं, they will be subsumed only in NIF, right? So this is a part, and the part you can correct here. This I have written NIF. It will be actually NRF, right? So this is NRF. Now, therefore, the government has earmarked additional 10,000 crore rupees over the 5 years for the NRF. So this is how the things will work. This is the funding pattern for the NRF. Now, how the NRF facilitate the ease of doing business? अगर ease of doing की बात करें and even promoting specifically in science and technology, So the draft mentioned कि जो peer review process है that will be completed within 6th month, releasing the part of funding timing pending the financial clearances. So by the NRF it will ensure कि जो पूरी methodology है approval की वो fast की जा सके. First, they will be applying for the research grant and receiving the money will be minimal, preferably within 6 months. तो जो durations है within 6 months वो amount allocate की जाएगी. Second, the paperwork must be digital, processed without ceding the part of the stacked papers or hard copy. So the process will be digitalized. Third, the finance related queries, that is paperwork, approval, acceptance between NRF and finance department will be institutionalized, keeping things in mind, and research will be in the focus area. Fourth, the NRF existing explicit spending guideline away from the general finance rule, the government e-marketplace will be there in the uses. Finally, the release of money needs to be timely. The allocations that will be done will be in a timely manner. Now, what next for India once the NRF has been formed? So how things will function? So it will largely modulate the part of National Science Foundation which is there in US. जिस तरह से US में National Science Foundation है उसी की parameters पे इंडिया में NRF बनाई गई हैं. It will borrow the best practices from country like Germany, United Kingdom, Swiss, Norwegian countries, South Korea and Singapore science agencies, right? And even if NRF draft discusses the critical thinking, creativity, bringing innovations in forefront will be taken into consideration that will coordinate with research and other aspects. The success of NRF will be live in how the government set rules and implement the same and how exactly this will exist. See, if you see the part of the things that is actually functioning, कुछ ऐसे और भी bodies हैं जो कि Department of Science and Technologies के अंदर काम कर रही है. Now everything will be subsumed and the whole sole power will be given to NRF when it comes to the part of the funding, promoting science and technology specifically in the country. Now moving to the other news, that is Centre reject EU Parliament stand on Manipur situation. We know that the condition in Manipur and the ongoing ethnic clashes between two community, that is Meiteis and Kukis, तो उनको लेकर के काफ़ी ज़्यादा problem है and this has get a recognition of the global media as well. तो उसको लेकर के EU ने कुछ पार्लियामेंट में स्टैंड रखी है, उसको बात करने के बाद की that we'll discuss that, but India has straight away rejected this. So this is important for general studies paper 2, that is the effect and policies for developed and developing countries on India's interest and India's diaspora. So India has straight away rejected the European Parliament plan to hold an urgent debate on the violence that is going in the Manipur, calling it a total internal issues to India. So India ने reject किया और कहा है कि ये India की internal matter है, other countries cannot interfere in this matter, right? Ahead of Prime Minister visit to Paris, European Parliament was scheduled to discuss the part of situation in Manipur despite the efforts to stall the inclusion of 6 resolutions on the part of the situation that is in the northeastern states of Manipur. Now EU debate की अगर बात करें, they have condemned the violence and even the part of the direct EU top officials has asked for a remedy and what does the government take. They have actually eager to know how government of India is taking action in this regard. And at least 142 have been killed. I mean, for the time this started on May 3rd, this year only. तो काफ़ी ज़्यादा डेथ रिपोर्ट की गई है and even 54,000 driven from their home. A lot of people have been living to other place because of the ongoing dispute. So the part of situation in Manipur per se is not good. There are a lot of lives that is in danger. Now ECR group resolutions की अगर बात करें, there are all other groups और भी ऐसे कई groups हैं जिनके resolutions आए हैं. I'm giving you one example of ECR, that is European Conservative and Reforms. ये एक group है, it's a kind of a party जिन्होंने resolutions दिया है that call for the religious freedom in India and that has declined in the recent year, marking the promotion for the enforcement of discriminatory laws and practices that is impacting the part of Christianity, Muslims, Sikhs and Adivasi populations. तो इनका कहना है कि ये जो populations है, ये जो masses है, ये कहीं ना कहीं deprived है and they are not actually getting the right and benefits that should be there, right? So this is a part and the opinion that is shared by the ECR group. Now the Socialist Democratic Resolutions की बात करें, ये एक अलग group है. They have come up with concerning the shrinking space, the part of the society, detention, harassment that is there with their legitimate right. Now European Parliament ने resolutions जो पास की है, ये binding नहीं होती है. Even the member state but also act as a recommendations that is given. It's only a recommendatory nature. There's no binding that will be there. The European has the parties from the end political spectrum and support all of this process. Postponement of the Citizen Amendment Act. If you see at the time when the Citizen Amendment Act was there, a lot of controversy was there around the nation, specifically in Delhi and other parts. Even Madhya Pradesh, we have seen protests from Jammu and Kashmir also. So in that time, India managed to get vote on the joint resolutions on the Citizen Amendment Bill. And this was a plea. The matter for subsidies was there by the Indian ministries, and an opportunity to explain that India EU summit was at the corner. So globally also things were not that part, because गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ों को ध्यान में रखते हुए सिटीजन अमेंडमेंट एक्ट को पोस्टपोन किया है. एंड इवन टू अ लार्जर एक्सटेंट वी डू नॉट नो वेदर this is the time where 24 we have the election process and due for the parliament. The government will definitely not come with any sort of this issue, which is really complicated. Now moving to the other news, Ukraine wins security support but no clarity for NATO membership. Something important for general studies paper 2, that is the effect of policies and politics for developed and developing countries on India's interest and India's diaspora. So Ukrainian president, they have welcomed the first pledge when it comes to the weapons and ammunitions, and even the invasions for the part of longer security term commitment when it comes to West. The NATO membership, basically president ने express किया है disappointment कि जिस तरह से जिस clear path से NATO की expansion होनी चाहिए and the part of inclusions of Ukraine should be there, it has not been there. The clarity has not yet been given, but see the things that has started. The part of Russia and Ukraine war has only started. Russia stating that eastward expansion of NATO is not allowed और Ukraine NATO join करनी चाहिए. तो ये एक debate है. Definitely there will be some result in favor of Ukraine, but it will take some time. G7 joint declarations की अगर बात करें, a joint declaration was issued by G7 that lays the ground for each nation on negotiating the part of Ukraine bolstering its military ties in the longer run. और यूक्रेन प्रेसिडेंट ने इस इनिशिएटिव को एक ब्रिज बताया जहां पे नाटो और मेंबर कंट्रीज एक साथ मिलकर काम कर सकते हैं अगेंस्ट रशिया. द यूक्रेनियन एंड अमेरिकन प्रेसिडेंट, दैट इज द यूएस प्रेसिडेंट, हैज आल्सो मेट. द प्राइवेट मीटिंग हुई है जहां पे उन्होंने कुछ हद तक इंपॉर्टेंट इश्यूज को डिस्कस किया. वहां के जो प्रेसिडेंट है मिस्टर जेलेंस्की हैज आल्सो गिवन सम व्यूज ऑन द पार्ट ऑफ मिलिट्री असिस्टेंस. नाउ नाटो समिट्स की अगर बात करें, दिस वाज द समिट दैट वाज लॉन्च्ड the new forum depending upon the Ukraine और NATO यूक्रेन की काउंसिल को लेकर के बात होनी थी. बट अगेन सी नाटो इज नॉट, they are very optimist on the part की यूक्रेन को इंक्लूजन करना, बट अगेन द क्लैरिटी इज नॉट देयर बिकॉज द मेंबर्स अप्रूवल विल आल्सो बी रिक्वायर्ड, राइट. द इंटेंशन इज टू सर्व द परमानेंट बॉडी where the alliance of 31 members can hold the consultation for the message, and even setting up of a NATO efforts to bring close possibility for the military alliance without actually going into it. Now, a brief about NATO, that is again important for your examination. इसकी formation हुई थी after Second World War, and the organization has implemented the North Atlantic Treaty, which was signed by United States in 1949. और इस organizations के through जो North Atlantic alliances हैं, intergovernmental military between 31 member countries, 29 European Union के हैं और 2 North America के. Recently, Finland ने 31st member के तौर पे join किया है NATO. And this has become the aim of the NATO is to protect the security and freedom of all member countries and their allies. Now, this is the news from economics. IIP rise 5.2% led by infrastructure. Something important for general studies paper 3, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So according to the Ministry of Program Implementation, that is the MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, India के जो industrial output है that has grown from earlier 4.2%, this was there in April, now current is 5.2%, right? So the growth rate corresponding the previous year was interrupted because of the COVID-19 lockdown, and even India is recovering. It will take another quarter or two to get recovery done. The factory output measures, अगर बात करें IIP की, that is Industries Index on Industrial Productions, that stood up to 19.7% in May 2022, mainly due to lower base effect. Sector-wise performance की से अगर बात करें, the IIP data released by the National Statistical Office call for the manufacturing sector output that is 5.7% against 20.7% expansion in a year. Infrastructure construction got posted per part 14% के आसपास है and 18% for the expansion for this year. Power generations की अगर बात करें, this is close to 23.5% a year ago. Now the growth rate is about 0.9%. Now mining is 6.4, which is for against the 11.2 expansion in the year ago. As per the clarifications, goods and service segment की अगर बात करें, specifically the goods segment, it is 8.2% as compared to the part which was 53.3% for a year ago. Consumer durable is 1% against 59.1% for an year ago. See, the demand in market is picking up. It will take some time to get the normalcy. Now, moving to the editorial of the day about the great expectation, something important for general studies paper 2. That is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementation. So this is by Vivek Deborah, and he was a former chairman. He's actually the chairman of Economic Advisory Council, and he has been heading a lot more committees when it comes to railway restructuring and everything. So an individual whose opinion will be definitely respected. Now, what I'll be discussing in this article, in this editorial, first as a theme, that is Finance Commission की क्या recommendations है, उनकी implementations कैसे होनी चाहिए, and what are the takeaway that we need to learn, right? So first we'll see the grant in aid की जो concept है, 13 Finance Commissions ने क्या क्या बातें कही हैं, और जो justice delivery system है उसमें कुछ important point को समझेंगे जो कि recommendations हैं 13 Finance Commissions के अंदर भी, and we'll see the future for 15 Finance Commission recommendation, और उसके साथ जो 16 Finance Commission form होनी है, how that will work. So if you see the part of 13th Finance Commission, it was actually set up in 2007, right? And the recommendations were valid for 2010 to 15. अगर एक फाइनेंस कमीशन की एस्टैब्लिशमेंट की बात करें, दिस एस्टैब्लिश्ड अंडर आर्टिकल 280 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, जहाँ पे रिकमेंडेशन दी जाती है फॉर द वर्टिकल डिवोल्यूशंस और 2 हॉरिजॉन्टल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशंस जो है स्टेट के बीच में जो फॉर्मूला होती है, सेस के डिस्ट्रीब्यूशंस, टैक्स के डिस्ट्रीब्यूशंस, दैट इज देयर, एंड ग्रांट इन एड दैट इज स्पेसिफिकली गिवन टू द स्टेट्स. Now, grant in aid की अगर concept की बात करें, GIA. So GIA is something which found mentioned in Article 275, right? What is GIA? This is a sum that as a parliament may be provided with the charge is the Consolidated Fund of India. ये जो grant in aid दी जाती है वो CFI, that is Consolidated Fund of India पे charge होती है, and even the revenues from the state parliament may be determined to need the assistance, and some is paid to the different states, right? और इसके कुछ different aspects हैं Article 282 में. Now the latter recipient operate in the arm length, and the grant in aid is not subject to many tight control as the grant is, right? तो grant in aid में states के पास ये opportunity होती है कि वो उसकी investment कहाँ कर सकते हैं. Now 13 Finance Commission ने कुछ recommendations दिए थे on the part of the grant in aid, and they have urged the grant has been directed to particular sector with the conditionalities and restricting to the part of expenditure to the states. Now, grant in aid as an important instrument, commissions ने schemes में भी ये बताइए that they need to have a more comprehensive addresses which should be there, and specifically when it comes to the TOR, that stand for term of reference, right? So recommendations and distributions that actually started from 13 Finance Commission, उसके बाद changes 14 में हुए, certain changes in 15. We'll see what are the changes that has been there from 14 to 15. Now 13 Finance Commission ने एक justice delivery system के बारे में भी कुछ बातें कही हैं. We'll identify that. So the Justice Department of Justice has identified the initiative for the part of action plan that need to be taken. And first is increasing the number of the court working hour existing by the infrastructure, holding morning and evening shift of the court. तो क्या कोर्ट को 2 शिफ्ट में काम कराने की जरूरत है, ऐसे recommendations थी. Second entails enhancing the part of Lok Adalat. Third is the initiative involving providing additional funding to the state legal service authorities to enable them to enhance legal aid to marginalize and empower for the access to justice. So these all were the recommendation. आप ये सारी recommendations directly mains exam के paper में भी use कर पाएंगे. Now fourth is the promoting for the alternate dispute resolutions, that should be there. Fifth is enhancing the capacity of judicial officers and public prosecutors. And sixth relate to supporting the creation of judicial academy in every state, so that the part of reachability should be there for each and every individual. Now 15 finance commissions की अगर बात करें, this is they have come up with a 4-volume report और कुछ 100 recommendations हैं, more than 100 recommendations, and the FCA suggested reform at union and state level that were performed and based on grants, and the risk of sounding negative such as homilies are generally ignored in the part of the previous attentions. Right now I'll make you understand that क्या क्या ऐसे important part है 14th और 15th finance commission के recommendations में, और इनकी जो consideration है more looking into the part of criteria जो कि exam के लिए भी relevant है. Now if you see the part of criteria, I think recommendations काफ़ी लंबी है, वो आप पढ़ सकते हैं PDF format में, you can download that. So you'll get the recommendations for 14 and 15 finance commission and giving you the criteria. From here a direct question can be there in the prelims. So 14 finance commission ने distance, income distance को एक रखा था अपने criteria में. These two are there with the 15th as well. Now the census, the population census was for 71 for the 14th finance commission, और जो 15th finance commission है उन्होंने population की जो census है वो 2011 के रखी है. Definitely it is but obvious that it will take the current. Now area की criteria दोनों में रखी गई थी. Forest cover was there only on the 14th finance commission. It has been dropped in the 15th finance commission. Forest and ecology जो कि 14th finance commission में बिल्कुल नहीं थी, उसे exclude किया गया 15th finance commission. Demographic performance, which was not there in the 14th, has been included, and tax effort is also included in the part of the 15th finance commission. तो ये सारी criteria हैं upon which the state will be accordingly making the vertical and horizontal distribution, and benefit will be given by the center to the state government. तो ये कुछ important points थे. You can even take the screenshot for this so that you can revise during the examination. This is very important. अगर आप mains में लिख रहे हैं तो आप इस तरह के जो comparison है उसे भी draw कर सकते हैं. Right? So this was all about for the part of editorial. Moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For the first question, the correct answer was B. For second, the correct option was A. Today's MCQ for practice, that is International Financial Services Authority. को बताना, it's an executive body. It consists of 9 members appointed by the central government. So do check out for the correct option. Second is about the green methanol. Consider the following: that the produced renewable and without polluting emissions, it obtains synthesis from the methane present in the natural gas. So these all are the part of the questions relevant for the science and tech portion also. And if you want to practice a lot of the questions, we have a platform where you can practice the question. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any queries about the admissions courses, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.